Go live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyways, so today we're live with the Sometimes Saturday podcast, episode 2. This week they announced the new Razer keyboard. They announced some big, giant 3D printers. They printed a boat, some houses. We've got Scotch Tarifs and Pappy releasing in November, so we'll talk about that. Call of Duty's releasing next week. We'll talk about that too, and plenty more stuff to talk about. I think we usually start with tech, so we'll start with that new Razer keyboard because that was kind of something that I thought was cool when I first heard it, and then I was like, maybe it's not so cool.
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing about that link, at the end there's an update, I believe, and it says that they weren't the first to do it. Another company had done it before, prior to them, I think, and it was 2018, like
Really?
really early. Yeah, and at the end of it, article it says that they had to. I want to say it's redacted because that's not
Schenker
word.
Technologies.
Yeah, somebody else had beat them to the punch.
Already introduced optomechanical laptop keyboard switches. Well,
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I don't like about the keyboard, and it's the gimmick part of it where they talk about what's faster than light. You know, like this is gonna improve your gaming keyboard response time. And I just think that's complete bullshit because like 1 out of 10,000 encounters in an FPS shooter is that like micro response time increase gonna ever save you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the one thing that reading it, I was like, wow, I know that's cool technology, and it's nice that they're doing it. And even saying like having the hypersense of it all, and thinking of like certain people I could see like maybe benefiting from that.
Mm-hmm.
What really got me was like, what happens if like you're tapping your finger on your key and you just give it a little bit of a stroke. Like let's say you have like a nervous twitch and you're playing a first person shooter and you're waiting for someone to peek and you're tapping your W key. Like is it gonna register the tap? Because is it that sensitive? I mean, like I can tap
No,
my W key now and it's got a little bit of play, but it's not picking that up. And are they insinuating that it's you're breaking the speed of light by the most macro of push? Is there a threshold where it's going to measure? Because they don't
I
really
think
explain
there's
that, I guess.
still a response time for a give to it, you know, because there's going to be an amount of time that it takes to press the key. I think they're going to leave that there. I don't think it's going to be like trigger switches, you know what I'm saying, super light.
The other thing, if it doesn't do this, they should definitely listen intently. Is they should do like your DPI settings on your mouse. They should do DPI settings for well, not per se DPI, but push sensitivity settings per key on the keyboard. So if you
Yeah,
wanted like a lightning fast WASD, you could have that.
that
So you could
was
be
what I
sassy
liked
quick.
about having something separate from the actual push of the key to the actual response is like you can separate the two. You know, you have the light there, that's always going to be how you respond, and then all of the mechanical pieces can go into like the actual actuation and click and the feel of it. So you don't have to worry about the feel of it being part of the actual working process. That's a completely separate light beam. I just looked up the actual announcement here, and it has an actuation point of only 1 millimeter. So you push down 1 millimeter at 55 gram of actuation force with 50% more travel. More commands in less time is what they're going for.
On a funny note, what if you pop a key off? Can you like wave your hand over the light? I wonder how far the light source registers movement.
I was thinking about like dust and debris. Like a little bit of dust, I wonder if that would all of a sudden you just start like
Yeah, I
rapid
saw.
firing A at it, because there's a piece of dust floating around in there, a cat fur or a crumb
Yeah,
from your sandwich or cookie, let's say. I was thinking about
yeah.
that too. It looks like it's pretty closed off though, and it looks good. I mean, it looks like they're gonna build it right. The only problem is that it's only on laptop keyboards right now. I don't know
Yeah,
why they're not
that's what I
trying to
was. That
make
was
it.
the other question. Was it just for that laptop that they're building? I mean, their laptop's pretty spiffy, I guess. It looked pretty powerful. I didn't look into the specs too much, but I saw they have an OLED screen, which
Hmm.
um, I know those are pretty sassy on laptops. I know they drain battery life like nobody's business because they're you know high end, but they had two cooling fans. That was cool. I read about that. Again,
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
need it.
Laptop gaming to me is kind of silly. I just don't. It's like Game Boys. I don't understand why. Why would you want a Game Boy and you have a PlayStation or a computer? It doesn't
Okay,
make any
so
sense to me.
this actually leads perfectly into the new Gameboy clone that they announced.
Yeah,
Let me pull that
what
up.
a weird thing this is.
I listen, man. If I'm gonna play a mobile game, there's only one I'm gonna play, and that's Pokemon, like red, green, blue, or yellow. That's it. That's all I'm gonna play mobile. Like really, realistically, that's all I would play, because that was my youth. Call of
Yeah, I
Duty
didn't
Mobile
play.
came
I had
out.
like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, or I
Yeah,
think that
that's
was
good.
about the extent. And I had a Game Boy Advance. I didn't have the light, so you couldn't play in the dark. And even at a young age, I felt like it was a shim sham and a scam. I felt like they were taking my money because to get the light, you had to buy an accessory, and then
Mm-hmm.
it shoot through batteries, and then. So I was never really a fan of Game Boy.
You have to
It's
carry
cool that
around
they're doing
a
this.
backpack for your Game Boy's accessories and cartridges and
Yeah, and my cousin was a big Game Boy fan. He played a lot of the original Pokemon, probably the same ones you played,
yeah.
and that was about the extent of my handheld experience. I had a PlayStation,
I think
PSP,
I
and
played
I
some
think that was
Mario.
it's a lot more advanced.
Oh, I had a PSP, but that was trash because you only had one thumbstick. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, we were all spoiled with our dual analogs at the time.
Yeah.
Having one thumbstick was like, you know, complete BS. But it did have an internet searching capability, which was crucial in my night school classes in high schools. On APS local Wi-Fi before they figured out what Wi-Fi meant to kids, and I would just search the internet
Yeah.
on my PSP. Why not?
You learned more on that
Education?
PSP
Nah.
than you did in school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
No.
my whole problem with mobile games is that they're trying to make them out of real games. And maybe we're spoiled. Maybe anybody that's ever played outside of outside of mobile is spoiled, but I can't play Call of Duty Mobile on a phone. I'm not gonna play Mario Kart or Animal Crossing on a phone. Like, just I just don't see any point in that. Even the Switch is pretty cool. Rocket League, you can play online. It's pretty much a full console, but there's just a different. You're not in it, man. I'm not gonna like go find a dark corner to like immerse myself. I'm not immersed in mobile gaming, so um I appreciate like them coming out with new like old style. If I was gonna get a mobile gaming device, it'd be this old Game Boy, just for. But I'm not gonna spend $150 for that, or $200 or whatever. I just don't know why we're going backwards so hard into mobile.
Yeah, I think it's kind of well. I mean, in the article they were talking. Somebody was writing, and they said that you always have your Game Boy around. It stands the test of time, I guess, and I could see where they're getting that from. Because people will still, I mean, they'll still play their mobile console
Hmm.
titles to this day. I know, like even the God, what was the name of that? The double screen. Nintendo handheld. What was it? I
Yeah,
want to call it
the
a Wii U, and it wasn't.
DS.
The DS. Yeah, people still play with DSs to this day. Like
Yeah,
people still about
3DSs too.
3DSs. Yeah. So I think to some extent, people still like it. But the one thing that it was kind of it's corny to me is that it has a 4K LCD screen. And it's like they even compared it. They're like, you could plug it into your TV and you would
Mm-hmm.
have it's 162 by like 120 pixels on the original. So they're like, you could play like blocks the size of your head on your TV. And it's like, that's kind of funny. I would be down
Yeah,
to see that, but it's like, why would you put it on a 4K screen unless you were insinuating that it was going to have, other functions outside of playing Mario classic Game Boy games, I just thought that was kind of weird. It's
yeah.
cool. I
What
mean,
they should have done is made a new device that allowed old Game Boy games in it. If you're gonna go out of your way to make a 4K mobile gaming platform, you might as well make a new one with new games being manufactured for it. All the controls that you need, double back buttons and dual analog sticks, and then just allow the function of the old Game Boy games. I don't know. I'm not. I thought it was cool when I first saw it, and I honestly, if I got one for free and I had Pokemon Yellow, I'd play it all the time. But other than that, it's a waste of money.
yeah, I'm not a big
And
mobile,
mobile games,
but
in my opinion, are a waste of time.
yeah, they're yeah,
It's. I
kind of
think it's something completely different. Mobile
neutering.
gaming is gaming, but it's got to be. It's good. I would classify it as
Yeah,
something else.
you know what? People that I was at getting my hair cut, and they were playing Call of Duty, the newest one,
Yeah,
on the phone, and they're like, oh, bro, I'm handling right now. I've got this. I'm tearing it up, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you're playing on your phone. Like, yeah, okay, you don't have your PlayStation here, but it looks so stupid to me. Like, I just didn't. I lost all respect. It's not. It's not the same game. It
it's
just
not
isn't.
at all. It's not even in the same. I guess it's in the same wheelhouse. It's like going to the movies and watching a movie versus having it at home. Like a lot of people enjoy the home experience because it's convenient. It's tailored to when you can and all that. And in that respect, I think I get it. You know, if you look at
Yeah,
it
the
like movie
only
theater
the you
versus home.
said it earlier. The only mobile device worth having is the Wii or the
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Switch. To me,
The
that's the
Switch.
only because it's powerful enough to support high resolution, high end games like Skyrim. Yeah, but it's mobile. And you can and it's fun. It's got a lot of a lot of accessibility with like weird gadgets and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
paper and all that other stuff, or cardboard, I think is what it's called. That's really cool, but that's like stuff for kids. It doesn't translate up to us because I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Doesn't do me any good. I got a computer that I can pound out games at 10 times the resolution at 150 times the frame.
Yeah, 8K if you whatever you want, all the way
Yeah,
up and
exactly.
all the way down the spectrum. Every game in between. I think this is a good cut from tech. Maybe we'll hit the 3D printers later or next time. Just because we're talking about games, I put in a post about Riot Games announcing a new first-person shooter. I
Mhm.
think. Oh,
Project
if you had
A?
to, yeah, Project A.
Mhm. What in the God's green earth? What is going on here?
Yeah, Destiny's trying to
Whoa.
take over. Okay. So let's go down to look down at the gifs.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at him.
It
Blowing my mind here.
it reminds me a lot of Counter Strike mixed with Overwatch, and I
I
want
could
to
see the
like it.
Overwatch. Yeah.
I want to like it, but I'm nervous about the Overwatch aspect. The only redeeming side of that for me is the fact that I played Shadowrun on the Xbox, which
Yeah, I
had,
was thinking it looks a lot more and it feels a lot more like Shadowrun than it does.
doesn't it?
I don't know who owns who what, but I feel like it looks a lot more like Shadowrun. It plays a lot like I mean you can tell it's definitely built on the same engine, the source engine that Half-Life or yeah,
Half-Life and
oh,
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, there we go. I was drawing a blank. Counter-Strike is built on. So it's definitely looks like it's kind of twitchy, almost point and click, but it does
Yeah,
look like it's
one-shot
going to be.
headshots.
Yeah, is that a game mode or is that part of the game
I
itself? Is
think
it going
that's
to be
just
a
the
Gibby
game.
game?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
which
going to be
is weird given the power, the abilities and everything. I think it'll play a
yeah.
lot like Counter Strike in a way, with some. A lot of this looks like barriers. A lot of the abilities that I see look like barriers, ways to, like almost like smokes, smoke screens. The ones
Mhm.
that's bugging me is where he pulls out like all the knives and he throws one. I'm like, I don't want
Well,
people to have.
he does dodge. He does dodge. Uh, I'm excited for it, I
Yeah.
guess, because it's about time that somebody's kind of they've tried to threaten the first person shooter category with a different idea. There's too many games have come out where they've been Call of Duty clones, and it's just getting to the point where it's ridiculous. Even Battlefield is falling victim to that. And I had gotten sent a video from Mike earlier in the week about Gears of War and how they're nerfing
Mm-hmm.
the competitive edge of Gears of War and what they're doing to kind of make it more what they call the big how did I'm gonna butcher this for the lack of what they said as a better term, but for the big moments where people are getting one shotted and blown to pieces, they've neutered the game and centered it around slowing it down to that point and making it happen more frequently than they did before, where it was high level play and skill that caused things like that to happen. So they want people to feel like they're winning more frequently at a pace that's understandable. And it's like that's just not to me. It's not it's not fun. Like it's too mass produced, mainstreamy for me. This looks really fun because that's why it looks a lot like Shadowrun, and Shadowrun was not a mainstream shooter. Really, this kind of like what the fuck? It's like Counter Strikey, but it's not. You can summon things, and there's life trees, and there's gnomes that don't get magic back, and there's elves that have magic, and then and all this other weird stuff that's going on. Humans have more health or whatever. It's like this looks like
Yeah,
that. It looks
the
like it's gonna.
racial aspect for Shadowrun was totally unique. I don't know many shooters that have that where you just play as different. Like you have different roles now. Like I guess that would be it. But I like the whole racial, like trolls, dwarves, elves, humans with all their different abilities, regen. Actually, everybody had the same abilities, right? In Shadowrun.
Yeah, they all had the same abilities, but they had passive abilities that were unique to their race.
Yeah,
So like the gnomes didn't generate mana. Um,
but everyone
I
could
think is
teleport. Everyone could do all that
Yeah,
stuff.
we could all teleport. Elves had more mana than usual. Trolls had body armor. When they took
Hmm.
damage, the more damage they took, the longer it would take to kill them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Gnomes didn't recharge mana, I think is what it was. So gnomes had to do. I can't remember how they got.
Yeah,
And then
you had
humans had the most
the
health.
trees, right? You got mana from like
Yeah,
trees and stuff.
yeah, you could summon trees. So you could
Yeah,
load
that
out
feels
like
awesome.
pure specter where you had nothing but you know spells that you could cast like a character thing that would like roam around and protect the objective and or you could summon trees or you could do both. There was a bunch of really cool things that you could do.
Like
You
there
could
was,
walk up and assassinate people. I remember that.
yeah,
You'd
yeah.
go
You had the
and like
swords with the elves, or
yeah,
you
and
could
you
have swords with. That was what was amazing. You could have it with everybody, but you played certain ways
benefited.
with certain. Yeah,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that
you
game
had
was
that
amazing.
you would go ghost, and if someone did the push with the wind, they'd kill you instantly because
Mm,
you were like they'd blow you away. It's
yeah, it
like I mean,
does
this
extra
is little
damage.
nuances. Yeah, little nuances, man. And I miss that. I miss that about a good shooter. It reminds me of like Bad Company. Bad Company had that rock paper scissors, simplistic but high level of ceiling skill to it. Like this game seems to have, where it's like, yeah, okay, everyone can be a Counter Strike, Twitch shooter, but can you throw a ball that defends you in
In the
time to
right
protect
moment.
you so you can, yeah, you can chuck some
It
knives
feels
at
a little
somebody?
cloney, and
Tell
I'm okay with it because of the weird mix-up. I think it'll create something new for itself. I want to, you know what I want to see is kind of a clone for Rainbow Six Siege. If if they're gonna clone something, I'd like to see that kind of get manipulated somehow. Nobody's done that yet. Siege is well,
Yeah.
not entirely its own, but it doesn't play like most
No,
games.
it's real slow and heavy. I want it to be, this game that you have to pick and choose your battles properly because it's very costly to lose
Hmm.
yourself. And I think that's what's good about Siege. It's one thing that I like about Siege a lot. I mean, there's a lot of twitchiness to it in room breachings and, breaching, clearing, and taking control of stuff. But the majority of the game is, like, how could you best, literally, how can you best overthrow Emperor?
Hmm. Yeah,
Someone's coming for
tactical.
you, a tactical camping game, which is genuinely unique. That
Yeah.
to harp on Battlefield, but that was always what was cool about Battlefield is the camping mentality was always there, but you could just remove the camper's location. You know what I mean? You just blow the building up and it was gone. There was no more camping. It was
Yeah,
always
maybe next week I'll pull a title. I read it for myself and I didn't include it in this, but the one of the co-founders of Dice invested in uh, a new 3D art system. It's voxel based, so it'll offer up destruction. But we'll talk about that probably next week. I'll find it again. Um,
finally
yeah,
frostbite behind.
yeah. The way it offers up destruction is gonna be really cool. So, uh, let's talk about Gears 5 since you brought that up a little while ago. Did you check that article out?
The
People
Gears
getting
5 like
banned.
2-year banned. I didn't.
Yeah.
I skimmed it, but I didn't get into what would cause someone to get 24 months of probation, so to
So
speak.
this guy that posted on Twitter, it was from a Reddit feed too, is he got a 640-day ban, and somebody responded back from Coalition, and they said they looked into the account, and in the last day they had played 21 escalation matches and quit 18, so they got 2-year ban from ranked. Is what I'm pretty sure it's just from ranked, but I understand why people are upset at
Yeah,
Gears for
right.
other reasons. I appreciate the long bans. I honestly think they're trying to create this competitive scene, and they don't want the community to ruin it, so they stepped in. But they have other issues with their game. Christian and I were playing the other night. We played, I think, 3 or 4 matches, and we won every single one of them. But there's something going on with the rank system in that game where even when you win, you can derank.
Hmm.
Like, we
Why?
both
What would negate that?
lost.
A
Well,
joke.
it's because I'm in silver 2 and he's in silver 3. And I think the rank up or down is based on your score per minute. So your individual performance ranks you within, silver 2. Basically, if a lot of people, I think, are getting higher score per minutes at your rank, then if you get a lower than them per match, then they start deranking you. But
So is
that's
that supposed to be what it sounds like? Is it's an anti-carry system, right? So they're trying to keep
correct.
people from getting carried, is what it is. So if you have a
Or
really
from
star
being
player, then
tanked. They don't want you to. Yeah, if you're carrying or you're being carried, they want to still rank you appropriately.
Oh, well, that's not bad. It's not a bad idea. Maybe shitty
Yeah,
execution, but it's not a bad idea, I guess.
shitty execution. I think the one way to do that would be to, if you win, you shouldn't go down any rank. You can get no rank, no positive rank if you were carried. But I mean, and what do they define as carried? They need to be a lot clearer with people. That you need to. I want a company.
Hey,
to
hold on that thought. You can't be too clear with people because people will abuse it. You have to keep that stuff secret. Because the second you say, "Well, we're this algorithm is why you're getting this rank," people will abuse the brakes off of it. And computers only read algorithms; they don't think logically. You're gonna get people are gonna be doing weird, screwy shit with your ranks. You're gonna have people all over the place that don't belong in the wrong place. The whole game's gonna go to shit and hell in a handbasket. So it's probably better they don't say, but it's a good test, I guess, overall. I mean, it's cool that they individually rank you per match based off of your performance, because the cream, so to speak, rises to the top, which is awesome. But I don't agree with deranking you on wins. I think that's kind of you shouldn't lose points. They should at least give, like, your win bonus should offset any lost rank bonuses by algorithmic math. So if you did shit and you lost 150 points, your win bonus should be 150 points, so you stand at 0 and you don't get anything more than that. That way, at least you stay where you're at, you know what I mean, and not go down while your friends are flying through the roof. And you look like a putz.
Yeah, if somebody's going off, or if the other team's camping and you play it slow, that's going to ruin your score per minute. And all of a sudden you rank because the other team slowed down your match. And in order to win, you didn't push through as hard as you could just to get a couple kills to keep the score
about that
going,
though. They were talking about that in that video, and this is like we're gonna go way down this rabbit hole. But that video that Mike said, the game is built on being slower, and they want everybody to be slow in general. So what it would sound like is if someone is passively playing you, it's to make a consistent chugging of SPM over time, which rather than steamrolling people for quick points, which is a fast way to make points, the game doesn't allow you to play that way. And so people will abuse that system and play the game the proper way, which isn't the way Gears, in my opinion, should ever be played. Should be fast paced, in and out, rounds after rounds after rounds. And they're going to chew through their XPM, and it technically will end higher than yours, because they're going to play shots when they need to, and they're going to hit you in a place where you can't hit them. And that should rule out the run and gun philosophy, which is a total crock of shit. But at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want everyone to be slowed down, and they want tactical play and not, run and gun. And yeah,
it definitely feels that way. People are way slower. Maybe it's because I play a lot of TDM with Christian. It's a lot slower of a game. I'm hoping, and we're in a weird time now too, because we have people on controller and keyboard and mouse. And the controller, I feel like, offers better, let's say, roadie running, vaulting, rolling, wall bouncing. But with the increased movement speed of the mouse, like, man, wall bouncing is crazy. You see people do so weird. You saw in that video that guy wall bouncing, like he was just jittering between the two walls. Yeah, it's wild. I'm just waiting for Call of Duty at this point for my next shooter game. I'm worried about it too, because the big play moments are definitely they're rolling out to more people than ever.
Yeah,
they're trying to get that to everybody.
Yeah, they want everybody to have that, like, oh my god moment, so they keep playing their game. You just get serotonin kicks at, like, raising your hand for a question instead of getting the question right at this point. Like, you just put your hands up and smile, and we'll give you everything your world could possibly desire at all costs. Please. Please play our game.
Yeah.
But this ban, I mean, is it too steep? 2 years for quitting that many matches? I mean,
No.
yeah, I guess you got to make an example out of somebody sooner or later, right?
Yeah.
So people stop quitting out of matches. Then that was an issue in
You
Gears
can
1.
join back in
The
if you
game was,
disconnect, or if your game crashes, you can join back into matches. So that's
yeah,
not
but
that's not what it
the
was.
fact is that they're yeah, it's the fact that they're quitting in general and not staying in the match. Which in Gears of War 1, from what I remember, seriously wasn't counted if the match dropped below 6 players in rank. So you only got kills if there was 6 to 8 players in the game. It had to be that many. And that, I don't know if that's really true or not, but it seemed to be perfect because people were getting seriously at like 25,000 kills and not at 10,000 like they're supposed to. So I could see, even from day one, that was a big issue in Gears 1. It's always been a problem. People just don't want to take a loss. And it's like, yeah, you got to take a loss. It's a fucking game. You got to lose, man. It's
Listen,
nowhere you sit in the world.
You got to take a look. If you quit 18 of 21 ranked matches, like you had 18 matches to decide not to play ranked.
Yeah, or did you do it every 4 matches? How did that work? Every 4, then the last one you just said the hell of it and quit 2 in a row after your.
Or you just wait for the wins. It's ridiculous. Listen, if you're quitting 18 of 21 matches in a day, like you can definitely take a 2-year ban. I don't think that's too much. That's terrible. I mean, maybe 2 years is too much, but 6 months. How about that?
I think any amount of months is too much.
Come on.
Games should start doing more. They should start doing more
Maybe
public
stacking.
humiliation. It's hard to say because it turns into a troll. You know, it turns into a.
You look for it.
You look for it, but it's like
you're trying to get the.
If you made someone's like in-game character skin look a certain way and like they couldn't take it off or something like that, or their banner changed in the game or they lost their rank on the screen and like they were like publicly humiliated them, it would be like, maybe that would work a little bit better. But at the same time, the internet's the internet and people are trolls are a many and a far every possible land in any world you could think of.
Yeah. The other way to do this ban though is okay. So he quits 18 of 21 matches. Like you don't wait the whole day before you ban this guy, right? Like how did he end up quitting 18 matches in a day? Like if he quits one, okay, he gets a warning. If he quits a second one, 30-minute ban.
Yeah, that's what Rainbow does.
If he quits another one,
15.
Yeah, maybe like
it's like 15
an hour
or 15, 30 an hour a week, and then it's up to 14 days. And then if you continue past 14 days, you can get your IP permanently banned.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, this was a 2-year ban for someone that quits every time they play ranked. Okay, but it's got to be proven over. He shouldn't have been able to quit 18 matches in a day. That was just the game letting people do that and then punishing them because they let them do that. You had no punishment, or you didn't speak to people.
Point.
It's like a kid. Like if you don't tell him not to do it, he's gonna do it. And then all of a sudden, after he's been doing it all day, you tell him, "Okay, you're grounded for 2 years for doing something that I never told you not to do explicitly. Like I never told you there was gonna be a consequence, and I waited for you to just dig yourself into the deepest hole, and then I gave you the 2-year consequence."
Yeah. You never know, though. Sometimes giving someone... how many months is this? Gotta look at it again. 640 days. All right.
640 days.
24 months.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta whoop them in the ass.
Yeah.
Hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, so anyways, after I deranked that, I'm done with that game anyways. Looking forward to Call of Duty. They started allowing the preloading. I told you it's like 137 gigs or something like that. Somewhere around 130 gigs. which is
137.
huge. Yeah. Yeah, 137. Huge. I am excited about that game, and this is what the like third or fourth major game to go cross platform all the way. So Xbox, PC, PS4. I'm not sure how I feel about crossplay. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna play with people from work, from Xbox, PS4, and Xbox alike, and I'm gonna be on the PC, and I'm gonna have absolutely no. I don't think I'll have a single issue dealing with, controller players. Yeah, they have aim assist, but it's so different. Such a different.
I think I didn't know it was full cross-platform. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
You may have sold me on the console. I'm sorry, you may have sold me on the purchase because I didn't know it was full cross-platform capable.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's actually huge. It's always been like the dream, coming from a console. And now I'm on the PC. It's like
Even
I've
better.
always wanted a cross-platform game. You know what I mean? Something that I can play with the people that I used to play with. Because I got like family that doesn't play PC games; they play Xbox games. And I'm not going back to play that. It doesn't look the same now. So, but that's awesome that it's cross-platform. That's stupendous. Really huge, super huge. Definitely all for it.
It's gonna
Then
it's gonna
again,
feel weird though. Those big play moments
transaction death.
as a PC player are gonna be in abundance. For a shooting game, like we should have. I don't know how they're gonna balance that. You have people spending, 2,000, 1,500 plus on PCs that can play the game at 144 hertz, and then you have people with an Xbox One, not even X or S, that are gonna be running the game at 30 frames or at 30 frames, and then PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, it'll all be 60 frames. And in a shooter, that's like really the real big difference.
Yeah, frames are a big difference, especially. You hit it on the head with that. But
We can talk about
I
mouse
think Call of
control.
Duty. Yeah, mouse control is a lot more pinpoint accurate. I hope that they don't do PC only servers, or they do, like ranked is only based upon the console you're on or the device you're playing the game on. They don't.
They
But I
might
could
do
see
it.
if they did and why they would.
Yeah, they might allow search, like Fortnite did that. I think you could choose to play with the other. I think you could choose whether or not you play with PC players. And I totally get it. I would if I played on Xbox right now, I'd be a little worried. For sure. Look at Rainbow. I mean, people used to get and PUBG. People used to get the adapters so that they could run mouse and keyboard, and it was a total dominance factor. I mean, you could tell people that played on PC because it was just they were so alert and quick and precise. I'm not saying like you can't overcome that as a console player. I'm just saying there's a skill there's a different skill gap, I think. Different grade of skill is required. I know Brandon and Christian, I think both stated that they're going to be playing with a controller on their computers. They're going to use a controller on their computers because they're not PC players per se, as far as first-person shooters are concerned. But
yeah, you got to step up though. I mean, you bought the computer, you got to get the feels for the utility.
Nick actually stated that he wants first off, he doesn't have a mechanical keyboard, so he wants to step up to that, and he also wants to get one that's backlit with customizable backlight settings so that he can learn the keys better, starting with like WASD, like set those red maybe with the white, everything, all the other keys white, maybe shift red, control red.
Who said this?
Nick,
Oh, okay. That's a good
maybe
idea.
like R is blue. Just set the different colors so that he can like, oh, my reload's the blue key. If he needs to look down, then he sees like, okay, I need to move over that way. It's a way for him to learn, and it's definitely. I was like, wow, this guy's gonna get committed.
No, it's good though. You should get
You
committed.
should.
But yeah, that's either way though. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Call of Duty is definitely gonna set a trend with this one. And hopefully, games like Battlefield and Dice in general take note of this. It's high time that people start putting the consoles together because the nature of streaming and how everything is going cross-platform, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what you have. Software or hardware is not really that big of an issue anymore. I mean, to a degree, it is on some levels, but not like it has been in the past. At least it does like the next 5 to 10 years, hardware, excuse me, is going to be such a different situation. But
Yeah,
with that being said, I think that we need to be cross-platforming and cross-playing and having games on everything because that's just that's the way games should be played. The days of old. As let's put it this way, as a as a person who hates Game Boys and playing games on small devices, being able to play blockbuster title games anywhere on any device is way more of the future than anything should ever be because
yeah.
it's it's so convenient and it's
In
so
multiple
dominant.
regards, it's a convenience thing for sure, but the social part of it, like I said, I've got people. You run into people, right? I mean, I run into people at work. I see them, a couple times a week, and we're talking about the new Call of Duty game, and you talk about the new features and new this and new that, but they're still almost they're still apart from you because you're never gonna play with them, and they're never gonna see, like, you're never gonna game with them.
Yeah,
You can
ever.
talk about it, but you're never gonna take the next step to game with them. As an Xbox player to a PS4, like, I'm never okay. Like, oh yeah, the new Fortnite update's out. Like, you can't take that extra step and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on that tonight. Like, you down? That's what happened with Xbox community itself and the PS4 community itself and the PC community
Yeah, it's the
itself.
isolationism of playing uniquely with each other. And from a money perspective, and I don't know if the content creators will ever do this. I don't know if Fortnite's doing this because I don't really care about Fortnite, so I don't pay attention. But from a content creating perspective, if I was to be making a cross-platform game on multiple platforms for multiple people to play all times with each other, I would start creating content that was unique to the console it was on, so that people would feel like they're fighting for something. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just a big chasm of networking between your friends, but it's like, oh, well, you're a Sony boy because you have a Kratos, painted helmet that only Sony people can get, and it's only
Mm-hmm.
available to Sony linked accounts, and things like that it would be so cool to have like, oh, that look at this PC guy over here, like running around as a giant computer character or whatever, just different things like that would add kind of nuance to the game. And I've always thought that this would be fun. With Mortal Kombat did, how you've joined a faction, and at the end of
Mm-hmm.
every 6 week period, they would tally up the faction wins and losses, and then that faction would cash out. And I think that would be cool if they did like an Xbox, PlayStation, uh, and a PC and Switch faction, whatever. And at the end of every week, they would cash out, so people would be incentivized to kind of, maybe you would play like a week on your PlayStation and then a week on your Xbox and get on your computer to try to cash in for different rewards and stuff like that, or programmed things that would keep you, jumping between consoles and systems to keep everything relevant for you. Because think about how much money a console a content creator can generate. You charge 99 cents for a PlayStation unique helmet, an Xbox unique helmet, and a PC unique helmet. You made $3 because that person gets the game on 3 different titles. More than likely he's going to play it on anything and everything all at once. So you've
Yeah,
made
you could
3
do a
extra
lot.
bucks. So it's like, why not open the floodgates, man? Everybody's all about getting the money anyway. Fortnite's free, and it's the largest generator of profit of any video game in history, right? And it's ridiculous how much money they're making, and their game's free. It's all based
Gears
off of
just
content.
came out with 4 new characters, 2 for each faction, and you have to buy a token with scrap that you earn by playing the game, and then you have to complete challenges with that totem active in order to unlock the characters, right? Which you could also just buy. But imagine doing that too, where you're on Xbox, like you buy the Xbox totem. That's the only one you can buy. You buy the Xbox totem, you complete the challenges, and then you get Xbox exclusive gear.
Yeah.
And same
Exactly.
thing, and allow like link accounts. So like if I have an Xbox and a PC, I can do it on both. Like just make me play more.
Yeah, there you go.
There's all types
Keep
of
doing it.
gimmicks that can
Pay
be
more money.
launched through crossplay.
And if they take this idea and they hear this, it's I want my money. Let me check about it ever happening.
I just want better games.
Yeah.
Just make games better. Let's switch over from gaming. I don't think I have anything else new for that. Do you got anything?
No.
Okay.
I've been so saturated by Mordau that all news to me is I just found out.
Any new
30
Mordau
minutes
tournaments?
No, none that I know
Okay.
of. No new Mordau tournaments at this moment.
They just completed an EU tournament last weekend, right?
A couple weekends ago, yeah.
Okay.
It was like 2
All
or
right.
3.
Well, let's move to cars, I guess. I think I had that auction, that whole auction site. Maybe I'll bring that up in a bit, but I want to talk about that that auction. I was like, oh yeah, the 700 horsepower 2020 Ford Mustang for 40 grand.
Yeah.
I don't like Mustangs, but for 40 grand for 700 horsepower, they're like trying to undercut the market for super budget, super muscle cars. The Hellcat is 60 grand.
Yeah, base price after market fees.
Yeah. So at 40 grand, I would take a month, I can't wait until it's 30 grand. 20 grand. I'll trade up any day. So this is Brownlee Performance, which is a Ford dealer. They're going to build these up and sell them.
Yeah, it's they're going to add Roush performance parts, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which is a cool concept in the modern like day and age where now all cars are just like nobody works on cars like that. I mean, how many shops do we know that work on cars? Hennessy.
On Mustangs alone, there's probably like 6. There's Shelby, Hennessy, Roush.
It's cool that people are still like reperformancing cars. I mean, and this is a new shop for me to hear about. I mean, I'm not huge into like custom performance like vehicles as far as like third party dealers or garages working on shit, but I want more. I want like a local
it
one
looks like
that
they're
I can
just
go
gonna take a 2024 GT bare bone non-loaded to the max, and then they're just gonna add shit 7 $7,699 worth of Phase 1 Supercharged kit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to get any tires or anything like that. So
That's fine.
you're just going to get you're basically getting a sleeper
Yeah.
Mustang, which is kind of interesting.
I want
All
it.
that other stuff does take an effect, though. So
Yeah, I mean,
you
you're
could
not
have
gonna
a
get
really
new
powerful.
suspension.
Yeah, your car's gonna have like some wild ass roll. It's gonna be like really, really front heavy. Like your tires are gonna get ripped to pieces because you're gonna have all this horsepower pulling them through turns.
Mm-hmm.
But your brakes are gonna get destroyed if you
Yeah.
hammer this thing down. It's a cool concept, though. I gotta hand it to him. It's a good idea. I mean, you could put a powerful engine in front of somebody. All that
Well, right
other
out the
stuff,
dealer.
you could put that shit in for yourself.
Imagine a dealer sending you like telling you like, yeah, you could buy this, or you could buy, the base model, and imagine you could spend, $30,000 less for just the if you just want a more growly like 700 horsepower. It's a huge deal, and I don't understand why more dealerships wouldn't want to like go down that road of just ludicrous, like send you over to a shop, we're gonna like set you up, like tell you the route to take, and get everybody like loaded out with the coolest cars. I'm all about that as my future. I
Let me see here.
just like any just imagine like when I
A
bought my
base as
Charger.
tested Roush is 71,000. Sorry, base model 71 as tested in this particular article for Automag was 78,000. Jesus. So that's, you think she's 36,000, 32,000?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Yeah, $32,000, and they add 40 some $1,000 in extras. So I was actually trying to figure out what the itemized list of parts are for a Roush.
I think they have a link for that. No. Let's see. I think it's mostly the supercharger. An intake, intercooler, and they recalibrate your ECU. Hoses, belts, and brackets. But yeah, I think it's almost entirely a supercharger with the necessary intake and intercooler for it.
Yeah, I saw that, I guess. I don't know if they bore and mill your heads on a Roush. I don't know if all of the engine modifications pass through. Like,
Mm-hmm.
as part of the
I don't
differentiation
think so.
between a
Well, maybe.
$30,000 and a $40,000. But there's got to be a reason it costs so much. I know you pay for the name at some point, but if it's the supercharger's only $8,000, and what the
Mm-hmm.
heck's the difference? Because there's still another $40,000, $32,000 worth of advanced parts and pieces that they put in there, like brakes
Oh
and
yeah.
Pirelli tires and all that other stuff. So it's cool. Yeah, it's nice that you get that level of performance out of a car for a cheap cost like that. That's really cool. But you're gonna murder yourself trying to like
Pull out of your
show it
driveway.
off because it's not, the car's not, you're putting how to put this, yeah, it's just not nice.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. It's gonna get sassy real quick, dude. You're gonna have one rainy day and you're gonna explode. It's gonna be the end of you.
Yeah, hopefully that new ECU upgrade includes a couple of presets. Hopefully you can downgrade the performance a touch just for rainy days. No, I'm totally about it. Go and buy like a car and then get told like what shop to go to, and for 10 grand more, like finance it all through the dealership.
It is right here. I think he said this. So Roush fascia corner pockets, that's $300. Roush cold air intake is $500. That's a face kit, which is the same as the other one, I'm guessing. Kinda. That's $2,200 or $1,200. Supercharge kit is 7,500 with no high flow lower grill. That's another $400. Oh, that's a different piece. Upper part of the Roush kit is $219. Dual exhausts for the Roush axle exhausts, those are $700. Quarter panel fucking for the Roush, that's 250 roughly. A Roush billet radiator cap, that's $50. So yeah, I guess you're looking at all these different things. I could say, yeah, we don't really need. I just need the car to be badass, and
Yeah, but imagine, like, again, like you just finance it all through. It's just buying a new car, and you just load it the way you want, which is obviously 700 horsepower.
mm-hmm.
If listen, all the shit they try and sell you when you buy a new vehicle, like all the protection and rust protection and the paint coat protection, and none of that shit really matters. Like the extended warranties and just as soon as they run up, then you start having problems. Like nobody wants any of that. Just give me like 700 horsepower. I'll pay for that. They're always trying to sell you something. Like sell me that. I'll buy that.
Well, they make all their money is on the interest. That's where they make the money. All that other stuff is just like cherries on top, And those are negotiable stuff. That's negotiable prices.
I don't get. Yeah, they are negotiable too. They got They got like bronze packages, and it's all weird. I hate that part of a car sale. I can't wait until I can buy a car with cash.
Yeah,
I wish I had 40 grand in hand. I could be like, yeah, try and sell me something else. I don't want it. Give me the car. They wouldn't put you through all that. They would just give you the car.
They do. They'll just give it to you if you cash.
You sign a couple
what that means
things.
Is they take the money up front. They make more money on a
because they're not in it for the
They make quicker money on a cash purchase than they do a financing purchase, but they rape you over time. So the higher the interest percentages, like if they give you a 7% interest rate, they're probably only giving you a 3% interest rate, but they're pocketing like 4% of the interest for themselves. And that's how they make a lot of their money.
Yeah, and that's why they try and get you in for more and more money, because that's going to extend the amount of interest that they gather.
They compound. Yep.
I'm definitely about. I would give them their interest for a 40 grand, 700 horsepower beast.
Oh yeah.
The other way that you can go if you're buying a new car is that Toyota hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. Did you look at the picture for that thing?
Yeah.
I like it.
Looks weird.
Long body.
Yeah. Pretty long.
It looks like maybe the front's a little weird, but it looks like a car, I saw a Tesla the other day, and I'm actually not a big fan. It was the SUV one. I'm not a big fan of the front ends for Teslas. They're way too sloped in the front. No, there's no
like them?
No.
They're unnatural because there's not a grill there to suck air in.
I hate it. I remember when I was a kid riding around, like I used to look at grills. Like I could tell the manufacturer of a car by the grill because they all have like a signature kind of look. Like BMWs, a BMW grill.
Yeah.
It's always the same looking. Yeah. But yeah, and a Tesla because there is none. Which is cool for itself, but I don't know. They got to put something up there. Wish they had like LED screens or something.
LED screens. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
My problem with this fuel cell car though is and the reason why I added it was I was perplexed that they even make hydrogen fuel cell cars anymore. You see Tesla like electric charging stations, but Do you know where you would go for hydrogen?
Nope.
No, I think I do, only because I used to work over by the airport where they have all the like weird fuel stations um for the state vehicles and obviously the airport vehicles too. And I'm pretty sure I saw they had hydrogen over there
Oh, is
like a
hydrogen
while
the same
back.
as natural gas? It's not, right? Because our local police department had for a while. It was really cheap. It was inexpensive and cleaner on the environment to run off natural gas. But I can't
Yeah,
imagine that's hydrogen. It's not the same thing, right? Two different things.
I don't know. They called it natural gas.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. I don't know if that's the same thing, but hydrogen is a natural gas, so I could see that.
Maybe it is. I
Yeah,
don't
the way
know.
that I remember when they started talking about hydrogen cars and the hardest part about hydrogen fuel cells was the actual hydrogen because you have to separate it out from water is the process that was most used for getting hydrogen. And I honestly thought they stopped doing that. But this new Toyota uh Mirai, I don't know if that's how you say it. It I would rock a fuel cell car if they all look like that. Except those buttons. What the fuck? Those
Yeah,
buttons are
I
terrible.
like the way it looks.
So
I
many
mean, but
buttons on the
it's the
inside.
practicality of it. I don't know about the practicality
There's
of it.
no practicality of it. That's why I don't
Where are you
understand
going to
why
get
they're even.
hydrogen from? There's no hydrogen fuel cell refill stations in Alberta.
Yeah,
And there's so for me, I'm not. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's a
major
cool way to
markets.
to market against Tesla and be like, yeah, well, we're going to innovate this much farther down the road. But I mean, we haven't even gotten electricity being the dominant force yet, and that's technically the best course of action to fuel fossil fuel right now. So what
Yeah,
are we going to do?
right. See, right now I think it is, but if you think about hydrogen as it gets shipped in tanks, right? In tankers, and then you can just kind of migrate our system. We currently have underground tanks holding gasoline that pumps into vehicles. Like and we ship that gasoline in tankers. Like all we have to do is start shipping hydrogen tanks and having underground like hydrogen stored tanks that pump into vehicles. We're kind of set up better for hydrogen. But at the same rate, what would it take to convert a gas station into just an electric station? A lot of
Yeah,
time.
I don't know. A lot of
A lot of
time.
sitting time. It'd be a lounge. You'd have to make some lounges, I think. The major markets are Japan, North Europe, and North America. But like I said, like we've said, I don't see where in North America you're gonna ride around in a hydrogen vehicle, unless maybe California's got a lot going on.
Yeah, I've never seen one, so cool, but for me, not yet.
Yeah, cool, but worthless. Um, let's shift over to what do we got left? Whiskey. A lot of whiskey news.
Yeah,
A lot of
a lot of
alcohol.
whiskey news.
A
Yeah.
lot of alcohol. I was looking through the links like, that's all whiskey. Well, we can kind of breeze through Pappy because there's nothing. There's one thing that I wanted to talk about Pappy for, and that's uh, do you think Pappy's overpriced? Do you think Pappy's like overhyped?
I a bad person to ask that question to because I sell against Pappy Van Winkle. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's shit, and you should never buy it. Don't ever buy or drink Pappy Van Winkle. This is your PSA for the day. It tastes like horse piss. It was brewed in the buttholes of ambiguous
Buffalo
people.
Trace.
So don't drink
Uh,
Pappy.
listen, I have no doubt Pappy's good. Okay, but I think at the price that you can get Pappy non MSRP, like that you would have to buy it from someone or a store that was holding it hostage for like a lot more money. I think it's way overpriced and way overhyped.
It says here that Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve 23 is only $299.90.
Right, but that's MSRP. They don't make enough for everyone to get that. So if you do run across a liquor store that has it, they're gonna upsell it a lot. They're gonna mark that up.
Oh
way up.
yeah, mark it the fuck up. Ugh.
That's why I don't personally think I'll ever be a fan of Pappy. I will like the taste probably, but the fact that it's
I've
held
never
ransom,
heard a bad thing about it. But then again, it's like, you know, if you owned 1,000 Bentleys, I'm sure you'd find eventually someone would be like, yeah, you know, Bentleys have this really weird quirky thing at 1,000 miles where the tires get wobbly or something like that, you know. But it's like, to the commoner, $1,000 bourbon or $2,000 bourbon is always great. It's always good. It's always tasty. It's always amazing.
yeah,
Because it's really high demand. But there's a lot of bourbons out there that are small batch, that don't produce a lot, that don't cost that much money, and I would even put them up in comparison to Pappy per se. I've never had Pappy though, so I can't knock that one out of the park confidently. But we have Angel's Envy, and Angel's Envy is super small production, and they're big enough to be in every store and have tons of cases go out, but they're so small that we run out of stock in 6 months. And there's been times that we've had swaths and swaths of months where we don't have any because it's just so in and out. And Angel's Envy is really, really good whiskey. So I've had it once a long time ago, and it was God's gift to my lips then, and I would probably stand by it to this day. Nothing's really changed about it, but
I think
each his
Pappy
own. I mean, people spend more money on other shit. They age whiskey, they age cognacs for 50 years to charge $2,000 for them. It's like, the person who makes it doesn't even get to see the end result in production. So why would you want that? Like, I get it from our perspective, but is it worth $3,000? Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think Pappy at MSRP, like at the retail price, would probably be worth it, no doubt. But the hype and the rarity that they have it at, causing the price to go up, I would rather pay for something that has, that's always on the shelf at $200, never runs out, because you can probably guarantee that they actually like are doing something worth $200 other than let's say $2,000. If it's always available, always on the shelf for $2,000, it's got to be more worth it than something that's only there because it's rare and like sought after. Like Pappy's probably like 23-year-old Pappy, 23-year-old Pappy at a retail price of $300, probably really worth it. At whatever it's gonna sell for, $3,000 or whatever, probably not worth it. There's probably a better $3,000 whiskey.
There's better whiskeys that don't cost that.
Yeah, we have a couple actually.
Yeah, there's always that mystique too. If there's small batch production.
You can say I've had a Pappy. So one of the poor man's Pappies, and I'm not talking W.L. Weller, which is also like the definitive poor man's Pappy because it's made from the same mash bill, and it's just aged a little less. This is another weeder. It's Larceny. Do you sell Larceny?
Sell against it.
Heaven Hill. Yeah.
Heaven Hill Distillery. Yeah.
Yep. It's a barrel. Actually, this is a barrel-proof whiskey.
Might not for very long. I think we're getting Heaven brand.
Well, we'll have to revisit it when you can say good things.
Yeah, it's great now. All of a sudden, it just turned into this amazing product. That's interesting because Heaven Hill. I gotta go. I gotta go look at my iPad after. Let's see if Heaven Hill's
Larceny
in our profile.
bourbon is a
We
barrel.
don't,
This what's that?
we don't sell it, but we might
Uh,
soon.
you gotta see if you can say good things. So this is a barrel-proof bourbon, which I've seen a lot more barrel-proof, and I'm about it.
Oh, you know what? Heaven Hill bought. How did this work? Heaven Hill bought Carolyn's, and we traded Carolyn's to National. So we don't actually have Heaven Hill anymore. We did have Heaven Hill brands, and we had Carolyn's, and now it's not.
Got too big for you.
No, they bought Carolyn's got
Great, is
bought
it?
by somebody else, by Heaven Hill. Carolyn's was its own entity, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was Carolyn's imported or something, and they got bought by Heaven Hill brands, and then now they're under the Pappy umbrella or Heaven Hill umbrella with Larceny. That's probably what. That's why that sounds familiar to me. But I'll still double check to see if I have any other Hill brand items in the good old sales book. But I know for a fact we don't sell Larceny. We've been against it for a long time. It's as it says here, it's against Maker's Mark, and quite frankly, Maker's Mark puts Heaven Hill's Larceny over the side of the bed and porks him right in the booty hole.
You big old Makers fan. I had a bunch of old news about Makers coming out with new barrel. They had that the RB6 or something.
Yeah. No, yeah, I saw that. So, but what's up with this Larceny? What's going on here? What's up with this?
Because it's a wheat heavy mash bill. It's being compared to Pappy as one of the great entry points. Like you're saying, they mention Makers as the other. I'm a big fan of barrel proof bourbon though. And that's a fairly new push. Am I correct? They're starting to come out with a ton of barrel proof bourbons.
Yeah, it looks like I think a lot of the bourbons, that and rye, I guess. Rye seems to be always the other the other go-to. Anytime though, so from our perspective, what they said when they were making when they're making a big push for bourbon was, and this like I said, it's been a while. This was right around when when Fireball started to take off. So how is this? 4 out of 10 bottles purchased are vodka, if I can remember this correctly. 4 out of 10 are vodka. It was 2 out of 10 were whiskey, but now it's getting to be 3 out of 10, and they say by 2020, 2025, 22, something like that. This is back then, I can't even remember, but they said that bourbon will surpass vodka. So you figure like 5 out of 10 will be bourbon at some point. But the remaining number, so it's 4 out of 10 are whiskey or vodka, 3 out of 10 now are whiskeys of any kind. When we get into that deeper, and then the remaining stuff is rum, cordials, and gin. And that, I mean, gin's not even a percentage, like less than 1 bottle. So you're looking at that. Remember this, like I said, you're looking at that in perspective. Out of the whiskey category, bourbon is probably like 70% of whiskey. And then like Canadian and blended shit's the other stuff like Crown. But bourbon's huge. It's just taking share. It's growing like crazy.
I'm a much bigger fan of bourbon than Scotch, for sure.
Yeah,
or any other alcohol, really.
Scotch is like acquired taste. I feel like Scotch is kind of like what gin is to vodka. Mm-hmm. It's like the niche clear spirit, as would say, it would be like the niche dark. People kind of like nerd out on that stuff. People get really weird on Scotch, but oh Jesus. Wow, I'm looking at the Heaven Hills Distillery brands.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah Craig is in there. And so is Evan Williams. Which is interesting because Evan Williams, from what I used to remember, was part of Brown-Forman. So it's interesting.
So either they traded or bought out. So yeah, if you're not into paying a ton for Pappy, Larceny's barrel proof. Larceny itself is I think $20 to $25, and then the barrel proof is
Yeah.
$50. Then we got the whiskey of the year, named by Jim Murray. It's the 1972 full proof bourbon. Was named the whiskey of the year. It's $45, and apparently this article is stating that if you want a good whiskey, this is the whiskey of the year, and it's going to go up in price or be unavailable pretty soon.
The
as it
guy
gains
that I took the
accolades,
position
so.
for that got fired. Number 7.
Yeah. The guy you planted all that cocaine on?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah,
because
he's
of,
gone.
Yeah, and I got his
So it
bottle
worked,
at
okay.
home right now. No, we used to sell 72.90.
1792?
Ask bank. 17, yeah.
Why are you not selling all the best? I get all these news articles about all these best bourbons, and I bring them up, and you're like, nah, I'll sell them. But you sell makers. I guess that's all
Yeah, I
you need.
mean, we've got bangers out there. We've got makers. Yeah. We have good bourbon. All the Beam family bourbons.
Jim Beam, yeah.
Booker, Baker, Makers, Knob, Beam as it is.
You got that.
Then we have Highmark Crowns and stuff like that. Highmark Scotches. We have all the Chevas, all the It's. We used to have Macallans. We don't have that anymore.
Can I book that Jim Beam tour, that Airbnb through you?
Yeah.
You don't get any discount as a salesman?
No, we don't even get discounts on Beam now. We can't even get samples of that. Beam's Japanese ass company that got their head on all over the place. They're not backwards. They're on all over the.
This article came out 3 days ago. I feel like that Airbnb is completely booked. But I was thinking though, like that would be such a cool trip.
Oh yeah.
The best part of that, okay, so it's a $23 Airbnb to stay the night at Jim Beam's distillery. And they have the bar is stocked. It's okay. The 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath rental for $23 a night comes with a bar fully stocked with premium Jim Beam bourbons.
That's where all the money comes in.
Let me see if I can find that. What are some of the premium Jim Beams?
Booker, Baker, Basil Hayden. Then there's like the Highmark Beams, the regular Beam, like Jim Beam Black, double oak, Devil's Cut.
I bet I bet they only put the things with Jim Beam on the name in the Airbnb.
Yeah, the Booker and Baker were the people that created the head distillers for Jim Beam's portfolio. The Jim Beam family, they had distillers. At some point became Booker and then his son Baker and they have like heavy allocated, highly expensive like bourbon that they release, and that shit's about as much as Pappy. I'd say it's pretty close, by like $200 or $300 a box. Or a bottle rather, and they come like in wood and shit. They're really high end, but they're super limit allocation. Like we get like 2 cases, 6-packs a year if we're lucky, and they go pretty quick. We hardly get to see them.
This is a beautiful Airbnb.
It is actually nice.
Did you look up the actual Airbnb?
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah,
high end.
They have Jim Beam Black in like every single picture, except for like by the bed and like in the. I know even the kitchen shot. Nope, no.
No, it's by the bed. It's just under the pillow, so you can't see it.
Yeah, it's behind the coffee machine in the kitchen shot. Yeah, I would pay $23 to stay there. It's got to be booked. Let me see.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
booked.
it's booked. Too late. I should have looked.
I'm looking.
Like that day.
I'm in February 2022.
I think they're only booking out from through the end of the year, with reservations running from October 21st through the end of the year.
Oh, I was gonna say because up to June 2022, it's booked. I
That's
was
cool,
looking
though.
at it wrong.
I would have booked it the
It's
whole
nice.
time. I just booked. If I should have looked that day, I should have just been like thought about it for a second, and I would have booked it for the rest of the year. What? Do the math. $23 a day, 30 days,
$600.
cheaper than rent.
Just
Go and live there for like a couple months. All right, let's see what other. We can talk about the gimmicky whiskey pods.
yeah, I'm talking about that actually all week at work.
Did you?
Interesting enough, Glenn Levitt's doing it.
I have this article. I read a second article that was a little bit more, a little bit less biased. I think this one is like totally slanders them and calls it like a terrible, like stupid idea. And so did the other article, but the other article at least explained that this is specifically for like one event, like they don't expect to really sell it. It's specifically like a gimmick for this event. Is what Glenn Levitt was talking about. So some representative.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be how would you put this?
Retail.
It's not supposed to be mass produced because it only has like an 18 to 20 day shelf life because the alcohol rips through the plastic or whatever the shit it's wrapped in, the gelatin, soybean jelly, whatever it is. So it was only supposed to be a gimmick for the time being, but I think it's pretty cool. I think if they could produce them some way to last on the shelf, I think people would buy it. Kind of a party favor sort of thing. Everybody slanders it. I was talking to a buyer and they're like, "Well, we got our kids drinking Tide Pods," and it's like kids are just being stupid. They're not drinking Tide Pods because it has any value to it. They're just being ass clowns. So it's like, get out of here, a bunch of teenagers being ass.
My favorite part about that article, though, and like the major reason why I even brought it up was the fact that instantly the internet talks about putting it in their butts. Like that's it. That's the first thing like the internet goes to, and that the news like responds to.
Yeah, if you could stick it in your butt, the internet's waiting to hear about it. Because
I mean, you could just take the end of any bottle and do that. Let's be honest. It doesn't take a pod to like make that someone's go-to. It's that's the internet for you.
Yeah.
So let's jump over to kind of wrapping up with the rant. I think we've been going for an hour and a half now. Did you have before I start? Did you have anything that really burned you up?
Not that I could think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure there was something at some point that had gotten to me this week.
Well, I saved this
Oh,
link.
there was one thing that it was a political thing that kind of got under my skin, but I don't want to get too political with it, but it was something to do with like the state address. And Ben Shapiro said in his podcast that he would meet any Democrat at the door who tried to invade his freedom of religion with a gun. And the Democrats, and I don't quote me on this, but the Democrats said that he was threatening violence with weapons. And I watched the podcast from Ben Shapiro, and I'm thinking like Ben is not the type of guy that would go and incite violence. He's Jewish for starters. He's been the epicenter of violent crimes for the past 100 or so thousand years since the dawn of time. So I can't imagine he'd be the first person to incite a riot of chaos. But it floored me because it was like, wow, that is. And everybody, and it's not like I'm pro right, but damn, did it really like blow me away. It's like
The
Ben
response.
Shapiro. Yeah, he's not the guy. He's not kicking down anyone's doors and threatening lives, nor is he inciting them. It's not Ben Shapiro. I think fast. He's a damn lawyer, for Christ's sake. Give me a break.
The response from Democrats is always like, I wish Democrats wouldn't talk for themselves, because they just spout the stupidest, like, I wish there was a Democrat filter that just, like, you know how people who smoke and they have the hole in their throat and they have the like voice box that talks, for them. I wish like Democrats had something that like did the same thing, but like mellowed out their democratic ideas. Like liberal ideas are so absurd nowadays that it's just they sound crazy and hypocritical most of the time. It's just they just make no sense, and they attack the wrong things, and they completely miss points. And I just wish they had some, because like I'm a Democrat mostly, so
yeah, there's a few things that they
it
do.
hurts.
Just that address was nuts. The way that they were attacking religion and saying, I mean, and like I said, Ben is obviously looking at it through a lens from the right perspective, so I can't entirely say what the conversation was that Ben was upset about, but the way he was upset about it was passionate because it affected his religious decisions and his personal life's choices. And that's, if what he says is true and what they are doing, what they, not that they're going to do this, what they want to do if they get in power, this is their plan. For someone to say that is insane, in my opinion. I think that's just insane. But like I said, that's not. I don't know what the full spectrum of the conversation was per se from their perspective, because you get snippets from on Shapiro's show. You don't actually get the full address. So, but it was an LGBTQ town hall meeting. So the basic premise was that, religion doesn't know to rectify LGBTQ people. So what are you going to do about it? So I could see where the connections can come from. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, I guess. I don't think people should be, and he said this too, you should be very libertarian on like gay marriage and gay rights. People should be allowed to do what they want, but you cannot dictate to somebody else what they should be doing.
Yeah.
As far as religious decisions are, even if they don't believe in your gender.
That's why liberals are so
preference.
crazy. Like far left, you start getting into people that are like violent in order to make a point against violence. You like start running into like, people that try and tell you what you should believe in or what is acceptable, but like you can argue that you can't tell me what's, you know what I'm saying? By me believing this, like I'm believing my own thing, you can believe your own thing. Like that's the whole point of a liberal, is like everyone should be allowed to believe what they want. But when you start telling people that they can't believe a certain thing, that's a hypocritical liberal, and that's what I hate.
Tarnishes the whole piece.
Yeah.
So let's see here. What's the parents to Fortnite creators playing game
for
is
me,
as addictive as?
For me, I was at work, and one of the chefs is talking about how there's this new lawsuit against Fortnite because that's been scientifically studied by, researchers, that it's as addictive as cocaine. Right. And I'm at work. I don't have this article. Like I haven't looked at anything, and I'm sure there's a ton of different articles covering this. I'm sure he found it on Facebook, but he has a stepson that got his Xbox, I think, or PS4 removed for the whole summer because he had this problem with Fortnite, right? As most kids right now do, or did, I guess. I don't know how big Fortnite is. Now Season 2 came out. I know it's a thing, but they're saying that it's as addictive as cocaine. That it's like it's ruining the kids' moods. They can't focus on anything. They throw tantrums. You can't take it away from them. All these attitudes, and he's over there like, yeah, I hope they win. And I'm like, ugh, it's bad. I don't want to say it's bad parenting because, you know, there could be other factors at play, and I'm not a scientist. Like, I haven't researched it myself. But I'm telling you right now, if I had a kid that had an issue, like myself, when I was a kid playing a ton of video games, like, I should have been better parented. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at it like it's just bad parenting. It's just bad parenting. If kids are getting like obsessed with video games, you gotta curb it, man. I mean, I'm a gamer my whole life. If I have a kid that I see is like failing in school, is throwing fits, is like totally changing because of a game that they're playing, like I'm gonna understand. Like that's the end of that.
Yeah, you have to head it off before it becomes a problem, you know. But I think that guy's a bit of a loony tune. I don't.
There's just absolutely
Video
no
games.
basis to sue Epic Games for making Fortnite
Oh yeah, you
as
can't sue them for
addictive as
making.
cocaine.
They didn't market it with implementation to create harm and bodily damage to people. It's not what they're there for. It's a video game. It's meant to be enjoyed. People need to stop attacking things that are fun, to have
Well,
scapegoats for shortcomings and other avenues. It's like you got to look at
yeah,
mental health. You have to look at responsibility. There's a bunch of other variables there before the video game takes hold.
and there's a
So,
ton of
mm,
other
but
avenues
again, it's
for getting
the top.
addicted to something.
It's the top notch premier number one situation. I mean, like, how many times has Tom Brady and the Patriots been accused of cheating and then been found out that they've done it? And it's like, okay, well, yeah, when you're the number one performing team in the past 20 years, you're going to be in the spotlight and everyone's going to figure out you're cheating. That doesn't, you're telling me that 31 other team owners have never cheated? Give me a
Yeah,
break. Everybody's cheating. They're the only one who got caught. Every single person's doing it. Every
and it's
single
only
game
because
is
they're under the
causing someone to spend
microscope,
thousands of hours on their game. Because exactly, they're under the microscope.
and that's why
It's ridiculous.
Fortnite
It's like
is.
these jewel pens and all these e-cigs things. Is people are getting jewel pens are under this huge scrutiny for getting people sick, and it's like, well, because you're the number one producer of vaporized pens and e-juices. Like, is it really like we need to be sued for that? Procter and Gamble's like under investigation right now. From what I understand, they're going through a big lawsuit for the opioid epidemic. They're being blamed for. It's like,
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, they produce these pills in mass. They knew the effects. They know the addiction level. How is Procter and Gamble responsible for somebody's actions for abusing something that they consciously and well-beingly know is going to cause them problems if they let it happen? Everybody understands. It's like it always blown my mind. Like, you have an iron and it says don't iron while your clothes are on. And it's like you have to have that because if you don't, someone can sue you saying that you didn't let them know they couldn't. And people need to own their responsibilities. You need to be better about what you do.
when
If your kid's losing their mind on something, you need to get them away from it. Like,
yeah,
if my
and
daughter was
somebody else,
drinking and smoking crack, I'm not going to be like, you know what? I blame cocaine for my daughter's addiction. No, I have to look at
the
myself.
drug dealer
Yeah.
that produced it.
Yeah. Where's that
Somebody,
drug dealer?
the other
Get out
chef
of
brought up the drug lawsuit where they're going after, you know, people for these drugs that, you know, were known to be, you know, have these side effects and addictions. And listen, man, they created a product and they said, like, you know, you got to take it as prescribed. Like, this is it's one or the other, you know? Like this drug is here to like help you with something, or same thing with like cigarettes. Like they know it's addictive, but so do you. You never have to start smoking it in the first place. Same thing with the e-lic, vaping. Like vaping is a habit. Everything's a habit that becomes an addiction. Everything that's an addiction starts as a habit, right? In some form. I mean, watching TV can be considered an addiction. Binge watching TV is just as bad as sitting there and like, watch or playing a ton of Fortnite. It's not a productive. It's not typically a productive thing that you're doing. And just to go after, that's like me suing, movie theaters because I spend a lot of money and time going to the movie theater. It all boils down to like, is that a habit that you have that you need to fix, or is it like actually
So and
a
it's not the
bad
thing's
thing?
fault. It's not like Fortnite's like, like secretly telling your kid like, hey, don't listen to your parents.
Yeah,
Like Fortnite's just providing a service for you to have fun, and however you have fun is up to you. And if you overindulge in the fun, then you got to be able to know that and take steps and precautions to keep yourself from overindulging in.
and if you have kids, then you
Prostitution's
have to
legal,
do
and
you have to do that for them because
mhm,
they don't understand.
yeah, they don't understand. They don't have the comprehension, um, the cognitive comprehension to understand when to stop and when not to stop, or
Yeah,
when to stop and when to go. They don't know.
and maybe
Mm.
maybe Fortnite knows that, and they know they're gonna make money. They know they're gonna have a player base, but they also probably expect people to take at least some of the kids like out of the house sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying they're
Yeah,
not
but
evil
it's
for
not.
like pandering, but
Though they're yeah, but that's the your market is who you pander to. If you're gonna get
yeah,
mad about that, then you get mad about like advertising and you create
you're
stagnant
giving them a market.
structure. I just don't. You can't blame the
Yeah, the people
like
making
they
it.
get mad like suggestive selling, you know, advertising and subliminal advertising and all this. You got to do it if you want your stuff to work and things to be successful. You have to. It's like
Yeah,
getting
but
mad at McDonald's for making you fat.
it's
No, you were
another
fat because you ate McDonald's.
lesson in life
Shit.
for your kid. Maybe think of it that way. Maybe think it's a good thing that your kid's addicted to this because
Plus,
you get to teach
plus you
them
got to
how to
look at
not
the
be addicted to things.
plus it's the generation. I mean, Fortnite's in everybody's hands. We just talked about Call of Duty. It's everywhere. Everybody gets a chance to play Fortnite on every
Hmm.
device all the time, no matter. And because it's so accessible, because it's so easy to obtain, because it's free, that means that a larger majority of the mainstream people who don't play computer games and Xbox games and video games in general are going to get on it to grow in popularity. And it's going to become the thing that people do when they want to go home and have. Everybody went home in the 60s and watched Gilligan's Island together as a family after the news.
Hmm.
Everybody did that because that was the place where people met. Now it's video games, and people don't want to own their responsibilities, and they just want something else to be their scapegoat. So they end up blaming the number one thing. And it's, TV wasn't the greatest invention, but TV was a great invention, and it's hurt a lot of people, but it's also done a lot of great things. Cell phones are the same way, and Fortnite's the same way, and they reinvented the wheel for video games, and they've changed the format of what we think games are and how games can be played, and what it means to be a gamer, and what it means to be a streamer, and how it means to make content and money. I mean, people are making money off of Fortnite, and say
Hmm.
that it's addictions. And if it is just as addictive as cocaine, who gives a if it's like that, then you need
Yeah,
to gives a fucking
I
figure it
yeah I
out.
don't agree with cocaine being completely illegal
You know
either.
what? I'm 28 years old, and there's three things I've never tried: cocaine, crack, and heroin. And you know why I've never tried any of them is because they're super addicting. I know that I would probably like it so much that I wouldn't be able to stop. I'll never go down that. So
Yeah,
am
but
I
that's
gonna
because you knew.
blame?
Somehow you knew,
Yeah,
right?
and the logic to not do it, to not take the risk? Is it my fault that I'm not willing to take the risk? Is there a shortcoming in my brain that keeps me from taking those risks? Should I take those risks? Am I too
There's a
high
lot of
on
people
my
that do take those
agreeability?
risks.
Yeah. Are they wrong for it? No.
No.
They took the risk. Oh, wow. Everybody should be an individual to themselves.
Yeah, like you said,
Give me a
McDonald's,
break.
you know? If you're
Yeah.
somebody that loves just eating cheap food, like maybe you shouldn't go to McDonald's, Burger King, or Wendy's. You know? It's just if you can't handle it, then you shouldn't be around it. And if you get addicted to it, then hopefully someone's there to like to help you out. And that's as a parent, that's their role with their kids to play that are playing video games like addictively is to like step in and teach them like, okay, you can't handle this. And you know, either teach them moderation or just remove it entirely because that's what you have to do with an addiction. You know, some addictions you just have to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make that decision for your children. And if they're cranky for a month or 2 months or a year, like that's just what you have to do as a parent. And suing Fortnite isn't going to save anybody else from being a bad
Nope.
parent. Like you're
No.
trying to, like you said, you're trying to make up for other shortcomings by blaming the target when there's other big issues at play, and that's that people don't know how to parent their children into understanding moderation or helping them by removing the addiction. And it's listen, next week we're gonna have more of this. Like, you know, we're just always gonna have something to rant about. I think that's why I like that we started ending on rants. And I don't think we're ever gonna have anywhere that we go with. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna have a conclusion other than like we're gonna have more to rant about next week. I think next week we'll also talk about the 3D printers. I skipped those.
Yeah.
We
That's a
definitely
big
have
huge
more.
implementation.
We'll definitely have more whiskey. I skipped a Sam Adams, a beer. Maybe I'll try and stack up on some beer stuff. And then
Yeah,
always,
we gotta definitely do the New Florida too. So we get that next
yeah,
week. We need
yeah.
the New Mexico, Florida, because every
New
morning,
Florida.
man, you bring the ruckus every fucking morning.
Stack up a few of
Mexico.
those. We got, yeah, and then as always, it's gonna be sometime on Saturday. All right, this is where we end.
Sound off.